Hey everyone, welcome back to Pine Hollow Auto Diagnostics. Got another German automobile in the shop. 2016 BMW X3 with the 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, the N20. It's exactly at 100,000 miles. Customer complaint is intermittently it kind of goes into a reduced power limp mode, and she said that this drivetrain malfunction illuminated on the dash. So I suspected it would be the classic loose turbo wastegate actuator linkage. There's the actuator, there's a little rod that eventually, you get too much slop in there, you have to adjust it. Not the case. The codes were not related to this wastegate at all. So haven't seen this problem before, at least on these on this configuration. So let's take a look at the codes and see where this one goes. Alright, so I did a full health report on the TOPDON Phoenix Plus and OE side, and then I went to OBD mode and did a code scan there. The check engine light right now is not on. Let's take a look at the codes. This is the OEM health report. Looks like we have 4 codes in the engine control module. And what are those? So right here, CD 9437, DME flex rate communication fault intermittent. Then we have a 118401 mixture control fuel air mixture too lean large deviation intermittent. 118001 mixture control fuel air mixture too lean, so lean codes looks like. And then this 119304 rail pressure sensor plausibility pressure too high before engine start. Interesting, never seen that code before. So 4 codes here. And then in OBD2 mode, 1 pending code, the check engine light is not on, P10FA. And it says please refer to manual. And well, if you go to all data, there are absolutely no listings. If you go to vehicle, usually there's this, diagnostic trouble codes. BMW doesn't share that, so you're kind of just going by what the scanner says. If you go to DTCs, there's just TSB. That's it. So this is all the clues that we have. So what I want to do is in OBD2 mode, just graph some basic data, fuel trims, mass airflow sensor, oxygen sensor, and take it for a test drive. See if this thing is, lean all the time. Is it lean under load? Kind of get a feel for is it something basic or is it going to be something more complicated. Alright, in OBD2 mode, let's go ahead and clear. There's no freeze frame stored, so that's not going to help. I'm just going to clear that mystery code right now. Read fault code, no fault code, and in live data, let me just pull up some basic data right now. Alright, let's take a look at the data. So we're just idling, warming up. We're 118 degrees on the coolant temp, 4 grams per second on the mass airflow, and everything looks pretty good. We're about 10% on the long term, which is interesting. 13.8 on the intake manifold absolute pressure. Now, for a normal car, this would be like, hey, you're almost at atmosphere, what the heck? I'm not sure if this engine's equipped with Valvetronic, which means there would be no vacuum in the intake manifold. So I rev it up. Fuel trims look fine. Lambda looks fine. Nothing crazy yet. Let's take it for a spin. So far, everything's normal. Let's see how it accelerates. I think the roads should be almost dry. It snowed a little bit. Perfectly smooth right now. So in this case, we might have to ask the customer, when did this thing act up? Was it on a cold start? Was it on the highway? If the problem's so intermittent, and we have no clues right now, the car is driving perfectly fine. Well, I don't see anything wrong at all. The data looks absolutely perfect. So, read fault code, no pending codes. Let's get out of OBD2, log into BMW one more time. I'll do a full code scan, clear anything else out, and then talk to the customer to say, when did this problem happen? We need to reproduce it. If everything's perfect, then how are you supposed to find the problem? So it looks like the ECM codes did get cleared when we cleared the OBD codes. So yeah, we just want to clear all these other random ones out. And then, yeah, let me call the customer out and see what they say. One thing I noticed here was after doing the code clear, turn the switch off, and it was very sluggish to crank up and start. That's a clue. Could this thing just have a weak battery? That's a possibility. Alright, so I just had the car running. We're going to turn the key on. Like that. Lights are on. And I'm going to see what this voltage right here. I just have the scanner kind of scanning, you know, in OBD2 mode. 11.7 volts right now. We'll leave it for a few minutes. We'll see if this thing can start. Alright, it's been about 5 minutes. We're down to 11.4. Let's see if this thing actually cranks up and starts. You can see it drop down to 8. Now it's going to ramp up. There you go, 14.5. No signal. Alright, it's the next morning. Beautiful winter morning. It's in the 20s outside. Let's do a cold start on this BMW. So, 8 data pits pulled up. 11.3 volts. Let's see how it cranks when it's cold. Oh, okay. I think it needs a new battery. That was a rough start. I can't believe it actually fired up. Well, let's take, I gotta go to the post office, take it around the block, see how it drives. But yeah, that was way too sluggish. Guys, there's no throttle response. This thing does not want to go after that really hard start. Let's see, so once it started, it's running perfectly fine. Let's read fault code. Oh, we got a whole bunch of stuff now. Yep, I think it was because of that really low voltage situation on startup. Let me save that in a report. Let's should we clear the codes and see if it comes back to life? Right now there's zero throttle response. Can we clear fault codes without shutting off the engine? Let's see. Shut it off. Key on. Clear fault code. Yes. Start up again. Yep, we're back in business. Alright, let's go for a test drive. Took a little effort to get the huge battery out of the trunk. They don't have room for a spare tire because the battery is literally twice the size of a regular car battery. So it is original, so it lasted 9 years, so that's pretty good. So definitely take a picture of the amp hours, the cold cranking amps. Then once we install the new battery, we'll have to register it with the car using a scanner. make sure everything's happy. Well, here's the battery that showed up. You can see it's a little shorter than the original by about 3 inches. Will that work? Well, there's a bracket right here, and that, you know, you can kind of space it out so this car can accept different battery sizes. So I'm guessing it'll work, but you know, it's the only one they had in stock. Well, the replacement battery fit perfectly. You just have a little extra room here now. See, that bracket is now in the 3rd hole instead of the 1st one. Yeah, let's register this one. I took a picture of it. It's 840 cold cranking amps instead of 950, so it's a little smaller capacity, but I think it should work just fine. Alright, so now the BMW is fussing about remote control replaced battery, this and that. We got a whole bunch of codes. Let's clear them all out. This ignition switch has to be on. Then we'll take it for a good test drive, park it, make sure it starts, monitor the battery voltage, go from there. Alright, we've got a clean bill of health here. Turn off the ignition switch. It's fussing about the remote control battery. I'm wondering if... yeah, that works. Okay, that warning disappeared, I guess. Maybe it needed to see a good signal from the remote control. The date and time should set automatically once we start driving. So let's take it for a spin. Alright, so let's press F2, enter battery exchange higher, lower capacity. Since the original one is 105 amp hours and we're going down to well, it doesn't say how many amp hours this one is. Okay. Register the new battery size or other battery type. Carry out the following retrofitting now in the programming system. Battery. Okay. Full functionality is only available with valid state of charge. Okay. Date and time of the vehicle will be set. Continue. Yep, it's set the correct time. Continue. Service function finished. That's it. So this message keeps coming up. Let's replace the battery in this key fob. So it has some kind of aftermarket shell on it, so the back pops off, kind of like a cell phone case. I think this just slips out of here. Try to do that without pressing any buttons. Like so. Okay, now then you push a button and the key should come out. Okay. And now you use the key to pop this thing open. Make sure to read some instructions. I think so. Here we go. Nice. CR2450. I don't even know if I have that. But we can pop it out and measure it. See if the battery is indeed weak. Let's try that. And the vintage multimeter says 2.96. That's getting a little weak for sure. Now, it was outside, so it's a little cold. But I don't have one in stock, so we'll just tell that to the owner. Alright, after a 10-mile test drive, we have no codes. That's good. Let's look at the live data, just monitor the battery voltage here. 14.5, so it's charging. Let's shut it off and turn the key back on. And turn the lights on, leave the key on for a while, for 5 minutes. Let's see, it's 127 right now. So at 132, we'll see what the voltage drops to with the key on, accessories on, and then we'll see how it starts. If it's instant, no sluggish starter action, then we'll call this car fixed. Alright, it's been 5 minutes. We're still at about 11.9 volts. Let's fire it up. Instant start. Didn't even drop below 10 volts, so this battery's good. We'll see the alternator ramp up. About 14.5. Alternator's working great. So we're done with this car. Just have to replace the battery and the key fob. We're good to go. So, and this car is equipped with auto start stop, which is interesting. The battery did last 9 years because it's a huge AGM battery, and I wish there was a way to turn off the auto start stop. But overall, we would have saved a lot of time on diagnostics if the customer was a little more specific to begin with. I did call her up and she said, yes, the problem only happened on a very cold morning on a cold start, just like we experienced this morning. So just a weak battery is causing all this havoc. That's it. So if you're going to a shop and you have, you're explaining your issue, be very specific what the conditions were, if it's an intermittent problem, especially because diagnostician will take your car for a test drive, scan the codes, do everything possible to recreate the problem. But if it only happens after a cold soak overnight in the morning or whatever, then it would be helpful to know that ahead of time and not waste an hour doing all these other checks. So that's what we have for this one, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.